What's going on, guys? It's Jeb. I'm coming to you September 5th with today's 5 and 5, where I give you 5 stories in 5 minutes to keep you informed, in tune, up to date, and educated about what's going on in today's world. So hang out with me for the next 5 minutes. I'm gonna get the clock going. Let's jump right in. So to kick things off today, we're talking Colin Kaepernick and Nike. Nike's latest ad campaign targeted at 15 to 17-year-olds features Colin Kaepernick and some bold text about standing for what you believe in. Now, Colin Kaepernick is an interesting choice here. You may remember that back in 2016, Colin Kaepernick was the player sitting down during the national anthem before NFL football games in order to protest racial injustice and police brutality. Other players began joining in on the movement, and the debate as to whether or not this was the right thing to do took off online. Now, you may be asking yourself the question of why would Nike get involved in such a heated matter like this? Well, it turns out that Gen Zers are now attaching themselves to brands that take political stances. Nike viewed it as being less risky to take a stance on the issue at hand as opposed to stand by idly in order to attract Gen Zers that identify with this statement and with the player. Since the ad has been launched, there's been a lot of negative feedback, there's been positive feedback, and the earned media value in regards to mentions of the advertisement are estimated to be around $43 million in just 24 hours. So whether or not you agree with what Nike's doing here or you like Colin Kaepernick, you have to admit that what they have done has created tons of social buzz online and brought so many eyeballs to the Nike brand. Now, what I'm really interested to see here is that since Nike has really gone forward and led the way with taking a very strong political stance and having all this social buzz, negative and positive around them, are other brands gonna follow suit and start to make stronger and bigger political statements about what they believe? To kick off our business news, Amazon has finally hit 1 trillion. And here's a few fun facts for you about the second company to reach $1 trillion. First one is that if you had invested $1,000 at Amazon's IPO, that investment would now be worth over $1.2 million. Number two is that more than $200 billion of Amazon's valuation have come in the last 3 months. And number three is that Amazon has reached $1 trillion 17 years faster than their other $1 trillion friend, Apple. And something interesting to note here is that both companies have reached $1 trillion in very different fashions. Apple has really nailed down strong products and had successful releases, which they've been able to stack up to get them to $1 trillion. And Amazon has been on a much more fast-paced track with many more failures along the way. Both formulas seem to be working, and with Amazon's fast-paced nature, they've been able to gain ground quickly on Apple, and with a lot of room for the e-commerce giant to grow in terms of digital advertising and bringing more vendors onto their platform, it looks like they will quickly overcome Apple given their room to grow. An update here from the startup world: blood testing startup THERANOS, who was charged by the SEC to have massive fraud in regards to false claims they were making about their blood tests. THERANOS claimed that they could do advanced blood tests on very small amounts of blood, essentially just a thumb prick, in order to run a variety of tests. THERANOS was exposed to have massive fraud in that their testing just really wasn't working, and now the company is formally dissolving after an unsuccessful attempt to sell. It's also estimated that all in, the investors of THERANOS will lose over $1 billion. And lastly, for our business news, Facebook COO Sheryl Sandberg and Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey are in Capitol Hill today addressing the upcoming midterms. It's reported that the goal of these conversations is a little different than when Mark Zuckerberg was last testifying in front of Congress, but now Jack Dorsey and Sheryl Sandberg are working with lawmakers in order to help them understand what steps the social media giants are taking to help eliminate fraud and corruption on social media for the upcoming elections that are about 2 months away. The most important thing to note here is that you should start checking your voter registration now. Make sure you're signed up, submit the proper paperwork, and go out to the ballots when it's time to vote. And lastly, we're taking it over to South Africa, who has entered a recession for the first time since 2009. The rand fell more than 3% yesterday, and government bonds slipped the most they have in the past 9 months. It's expected that the recession is stemming from a contraction in South Africa's GDP, and other countries like Turkey and Argentina are also suffering from devalued currencies and may be soon to follow. That's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for checking in. Once again, it's Jeb with the 5 and 5. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you thought about today's stories, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.